Tell me when you're ready.
You ready?
Yep.
My name is Wilburn Russell. I'm Sergeant John Russell's dad. And all we really know is that John faxed his wife over in Bamberg and said that some officers had threatened him on the 5th and 6th, and it was the worst 2 days of his life. And he's on his 3rd tour of duty over there in Iraq. And he only had 6 weeks to go to finish up his tour. They scheduled him for a stress test, and it's just possible that the officers that he had the rhubarb with scheduled him for the stress test. And since these officers are beer drinking buddies, they probably told the guy in charge of the stress test center, drum him out. John's whole life was the military. He had approximately 15 or 16 years in. He thought he was saving lives because he's an electronics technician. He fixed the robots that they used to set off roadside bombs, this kind of stuff. And he really thought he was saving lives. He thought he was doing some good. And evidently they broke him in the stress center. They ask you things like impossible questions, and they tell you, you're too stupid to be in here. I don't know how you got those stripes, but we're going to drum you out, fella. We're cleaning up this place. And John didn't have the maturity to realize that as much money as they pay him for reenlistment in his MOS, it's a critical shortage of them. But they broke him. They told him, that's it, you're out. Well, he's buying this house. He's paying approximately $1,600 a month for this house. He just bought it in July. He thought his life was over. They didn't tell him any difference. I don't know if they placed him under arrest or not because he was argumentative with him. They put him in a vehicle with a guy with a gun. Well, they trained him to kill. John took the gun away from the guy, drove back, and I don't know who he shot. I don't know if he shot the people that was in the stress center or if it was fellow soldiers who tried to intercede or what. But his life was over. He figured his life was over when they said they was getting rid of him. And these officers, these facts will probably never come out because these officers are not going to tell on one another. They're not going to show the kind of things they do. And he had no recourse. You go to the commanding officer, and the commanding officer is not going to side against these officers. So he had no place to go, and like I said, they broke him.
And how did you find out about it?
Well, our daughter-in-law phoned us yesterday morning, and of course the wife and I are, we've been praying for both the families because he did an awful lot of harm. He didn't rationalize. He didn't think this thing through. He just reacted, and he's hurt more people than he ever realized. Commanding officer and the chaplain showed up yesterday morning at Bamberg and told his wife that he went crazy and killed 5 fellow soldiers, and that's all they knew. And his wife and I are devastated. John, we thought he had his feet on the ground. And this guy, he took Tai Chi lessons. He loved video games. He had a whole bunch of trophies from winning chess matches and hearts, and we thought he was well-rounded, but he was real quiet. He didn't, he couldn't articulate, and he couldn't resolve his differences verbally, evidently. And when you break him and you don't put him back together, you don't tell him. That stress center didn't tell him, we're here for your benefit. We're here to find out emotionally if you're able to go home and not do something to yourself or your wife or something. They didn't tell him that. They just told him, you're it. You're out of here, fella.
And when was the last time you heard from him?
He emailed his mother Mother's Day and sent flowers, and said he was looking forward to seeing us in July. He had a trip scheduled.
And does he have kids?
Oh yeah, we've got one boy that lives with us, and he was under a certain amount of stress. His boy just found out that he got a couple of cysts on his liver, and he's worried about me because I just had major surgery in February. Now I've got a corset on because they put me in an artificial stomach in, and the you never know what triggers it. You just know that they're under a lot of stress, and he didn't know how to handle it, I guess.
And his son's here living with you all?
Yeah.
How is he taking it?
Oh, he's devastated. You know, we all are. We didn't expect this. We thought maybe he'd get killed. We never dreamed in our wildest dreams that something like this would happen. And John, if he was rational, he would have told you, I would have never hurt my fellow soldiers, you know. But, it's something he couldn't handle, I guess. And I hope that Secretary Gates and the President does find out exactly what transpired, you know, because this was collusion on their parts. This was premeditated and it was set up, and you know, they don't do the best job of taking care of the soldiers, both in the service and after they get out of the service. You know, we know that, and they use them. Yeah.
And John, was he born and raised here in Sherman?
He was born in Oklahoma City, and we moved here in Plano in 1972. I worked for the Department of Defense, and we moved up to Sherman in 1976. We've been here ever since.
And this is where he was going to move with
Yes,
his
this is
wife?
where we're going to, yeah, right. This is the house he was paying for and looking forward to. Retirement.
How are you feeling now?
I'm sick. I'm sorry. Not just for my son, but for everybody involved. It should have never happened. You know, you'd have think they'd been smart enough to realize, you know, I've had to only take so much. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to tell you because the War Department hasn't contacted us. You know, we haven't heard anything from them.
So you don't know what's next?
No. I know that they charged him this morning with capital murder, 5 cases plus an assault. And I hope they find out that he did have a mental breakdown because maybe he'll live. You know, otherwise, blindfolded and shooting. I guess he figured it was worth it. You know. He didn't know how to talk. He didn't know how to ask for help. And handicapped him. You see, when they go to the stress center on their own and ask for help, they think they're a wimp. You know, they belittle them and they drum them out because they ask for help. So, they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. You know. And I'm sure that they scheduled this for a purpose. Break him. They broke him, but they didn't replace him. Tell all Americans, you know, we were sorry. My whole family, everybody's just devastated.